Yesterday, I went for a ride on my gravel bike, which is, I don't know how to explain it, but such a different feeling that it doesn't get used much anymore. It went from being a gravel bike to a city bike because I don't feel as bad parking it as I do this one. It has cantilever brakes. It has the same E-hub, the same 350 watt Yosi motor, slightly different controller, that kind of thing, but it's a nice bike. It has a XLC suspension seat post, which works really well. The same S&P hybrid saddle, except for an old one that's getting a little cracked from the sun, but it's still a viable seat and a great bike. But the first thing I noticed, wow, these rabbits. The first thing I noticed was the lack of a dropper seat post. I used to think these things were silly. Well, not necessarily totally silly, but for people who did jumps, fast downhill, where they needed to be up off the seat and the bike was going to be bouncing up and down vigorously, having the seat out of the way made a lot of sense. But in very loose conditions where there's a lot of rain ruts, it's nice to have the seat a little bit lower or be able to move it down on demand to give a lower feel to the bike. Now this farm road is pretty well abused. It's got lots of ruts, loose rocks and that kind of thing, and copious bunny rabbits. I haven't been on it for a very long time. The last time was several months ago, and there was a wildfire that swept through here and tore out all the weeds and grass and damaged a lot of the trees and cropland. However, the farmers plowed that all under, and as you can see, everything is growing quite well. Whoa. That was foolish. I should have just pushed through that, but I still can't see that well. But if anything, it demonstrates how having the seat lowered down a bit can in fact be advantageous. I'm just a little bit paranoid because this is kind of a lonely place. I did not bring my new knee pads. I bought some XLC knee pads for this very kind of environment, but of course I don't have them with me. Anyway, crashing in this environment can lead to some unhappiness. Now, I do have a first aid kit, and I can do some fundamental repairs on myself and the bike. However, as you just saw, that dropper seat post saved the day. Remarkable tool. Yeah, the original thought was, well, I'll just do some blacktop riding, go to Loeches and visit the beautiful town and go on home. But these fields are just too lovely, and this is just too interesting of a place not to ride around in. Incidentally, this new Bucklow's $124 fork, actually, I think it was euros or dollars, I don't remember. Anyway, 124 somethings fork is turned out to be pretty darn good, at least in the last couple hundred kilometers that I've put on it. Now, it's not designed for jumping and all that kind of hoopla, but for cruising around and doing the type of touring that I do, I think it's performing quite nicely. It takes it also does speed humps really well. It absorbs shocks, it absorbs the little stuff so my hands don't vibrate as much as they did with the spring fork, and it's just a more comfortable ride. Now, to make it as smooth as possible, I use muck-off suspension serum, silky suspension serum, and that keeps it running silky smooth. I also put it on the suspension dropper seat post, and it actuates really nicely.